Hi there, and thanks for tuning in. This is Kevin from Trio with information that could change how you hire your React developers. Today, we're going to talk about React. Let's get started. First and foremost, we need to know what React is. React is an open source technology typically used with JavaScript in web development. Most people would say, oh yeah, React, the framework. But this is a common misconception. Many developers wouldn't bat an eye if you said this around them. But a better way to describe React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces, or UI, as well as UI components. A component is used with JavaScript and hypertext markup language, or HTML, to display a small piece of the larger UI. So let's talk about JavaScript. The primary purpose of JavaScript is to handle most of the interactivity in a web page. Scrolling bars, clicking the subscribe and the like button, just to name a few. HTML builds the page structure. At some point, it's joined by cascading style sheets, or CSS, which allows you to design the aesthetics of the page. The reason we talk about all of this is because React developers work with React to build UI. This makes React front-end developers as well as JavaScript developers. So React developers are front-end JavaScript developers, responsible for creating and maintaining UIs for web apps and websites. This means those buttons, scroll bars, interactive parts of the page are all because of a React developer. To do this, they need experience programming functionality into the UIs they build. In order to properly hire a React developer, you need to make sure your potential hires have a good grasp of React and what will be required of them in the role. Day-to-day activities of a React developer can be diverse, so let's look at some of the functions they may perform. Developing responsive, interactive technology for dynamic web pages, such as menu buttons, online forms, gesture-driven actions, or more. Testing and debugging interface software before the application goes live. Working with the client to better understand how to manifest their vision for the app via software development. Consulting with back-end engineers and developers to ensure that collaborative user-facing and server-side interactions run without errors. That's what I call a lot to look for. As stated previously, there are three principal technologies needed for front-end development: JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. While HTML and CSS are not programming languages, every front-end developer needs to know how to navigate these technologies in order to build a complete UI. JavaScript will do most of the work when building a website. So if a developer says that they are proficient in React, they should have a background developing in JavaScript as well. This background should include familiarity with DOM manipulation and the latest ECMA script, which is an enhanced version of JavaScript which supports convenient features. While React is a JavaScript framework, it's also its own entity with data structure libraries and workflows like Flux or Redux. React developers should recognize these tools as well. A JavaScript developer alone isn't the answer. You need a React developer with familiarity in the React library. So, we know how to hire a React developer, but where do you find a React developer? There are quite a few resources, so let's take a look at a few. Number one, freelance marketplaces. If you don't need a committed developer, freelance marketplaces are the way to go. You can find these people in places like Upwork or Fiverr. You'll be able to choose from a long list of options based on the exact qualifications you need. However, since they're freelance, they have more command of their work schedule. They have the freedom to work on multiple projects at once, and that's their right. You won't have to tie yourself down to a full-time employee or worry about benefits or legal capabilities. Number two, job boards. Websites like Indeed, Monster, Auta, are all examples of job boards where you can post a job description and people will begin applying towards them. Keep in mind, most people who apply on job boards want full-time, and that includes salary and benefits. Number three, outsourcing companies. When you use an outsourcing agency, another company takes care of all your needs. When you go this route, you won't need to know where to find a React developer since they'll do it for you. The basic rundown would be, you pay the price, tell the agency what you want, and they get it done. These companies tend to be offshore, so they are more reasonably priced in that regard. But the cost of convenience isn't monetary, it's communication. Since many of these companies operate in other countries, there is no guarantee on the language comprehension or on the time zone of the individuals they'll find for you. When it comes to hiring a developer, an important factor is the cost. If you're hiring in the US, a senior React developer could cost anywhere between $103,000 to $180,000. That's a lot of money. One way to offset that cost is by hiring an offshore developer. Offshore developers have a huge price range depending on where they're located. For instance, South America. The average price for a senior developer is $100,000, where a mid-level developer would be averaged around $76,000. That's a significant decrease in costs. And if it's a short-term contract, sometimes it's easier to look at the cost in an hourly rate. A mid-software developer from Latin America could be anywhere from $35 to $55 an hour. Compare that to the US at $48 to $74 an hour. It's quite a large spread. So we've discussed how much a React developer costs, what they do, where to find them. Now it's time to write the job description. The description will do most of the work in making people apply. You want it to be an accurate portrayal of what your company can offer and what candidates should expect. Let's start with the job description. This tells the candidate all about the job. There should be a brief summary of what you're looking for, as well as what the tasks may be. Something like, we're seeking a front-end developer who is proficient with React and web development as a whole. This is a great opportunity to join a communicative, enthusiastic, and highly skilled developers. You'll solve complex problems by building and using cutting-edge technology. Then we need a description of your company. If an employee believes in you and your mission, they'll be better motivated to succeed. Here's another example. Trio helps small and medium-sized businesses, SMBs, achieve their goals by providing them with hand-selected, qualified software engineers to complete your project on time and on budget. We believe SMBs should have the same access to great software as big-name firms. After that, you can talk about the responsibilities. We spoke about that earlier with the roles and responsibilities of React developers. You can always refer back to that part of the video or check out our blog at trio.dev/blog, which has more information. You should feel free to be specific about what you want. And what you want can also be categorized in the requirements. This is the detail of what your candidates need to have accomplished or learned. This can be experience, education, technical skills, just to name a few. It could be things like 3 or more years of experience in software development, strong proficiency in JavaScript and with DOM manipulation, familiarity with RESTful APIs, knowledge of isomorphic React, experience with performative testing frameworks such as Mocha and Jest. So that, in a nutshell, is how to hire a React developer. To recap, React developers are front-end developers who use React, the JavaScript library, to build UIs for websites and applications. They have the skills necessary for a front-end web development project. A well-qualified developer can make or break your project, and finding one can be a challenge. But it doesn't have to be. Trio's on your side to make sure you don't overexert yourself doing something that we can assist you with. Make sure to contact Trio today to stop searching and start developing. And make sure you hit that subscribe and like button, which was probably programmed by a React developer, for more information and news about the technological world. This has been Kevin with Trio, signing off.